The morning sun rose over 7 like any other morning. The mining colony had seen 15 peaceful years on this distant world. Miners worked the underground tunnels while families lived in the domed habitats above. Children played in the parks. People laughed and lived normal lives, far from the wars that plagued other parts of the galaxy. Stood at the edge of Mine Shaft 7, checking the equipment readings on his. He was a quiet man, 34 years old, with dark hair and calm eyes. The other miners knew little about him. He came to work on time, did his job well, and went home alone. He never joined them for drinks. He never shared stories about his past. Some thought he was running from something. Others thought he was just boring. The truth was more complicated than either guess. High above the colony, something moved through the clouds. At first, the sensors registered it as a storm system. By the time anyone realized the mistake, it was too late. 5 massive ships broke through the atmosphere. They were dark metal vessels covered in sharp edges and weapon ports. The Empire had come to 7. Alarms screamed across the colony. Minu, the colony administrator, ran to the command center. His daughter was at school. His first thought was getting to her. His second thought was that the colony had no real defenses. They were miners, not soldiers. The ships landed in the central plaza. Ramps dropped open and warriors poured out. They were tall reptilian creatures with scaled skin and cold yellow eyes. They carried plasma rifles and wore heavy armor. They moved with the confidence of predators who knew their prey was helpless. Commander led the raid. He had taken slaves from dozens of worlds. Humans were valuable in the fighting pits and labor camps. They broke easily but worked hard before they died. This colony would bring good profit. Heard the alarms in the mines. He climbed to the surface and saw the chaos. People ran in every direction. Warriors grabbed colonists and dragged them toward the ships. Children screamed for their parents. Parents fought uselessly against armored raiders. Something old stirred inside, something he had buried deep and tried to forget. His hands began to shake, but not from fear, from memory, from muscle memory that knew exactly how to kill. He forced it down. He was now not who he used to be. He had left that life behind. A young girl ran past him, chased by 2 warriors. She tripped and fell. One warrior reached for her. His body moved before his mind could stop it. He stepped between the girl and the warrior. They looked at him with amusement. "Move, human, or die," the warrior growled in broken human language. Stared at the warrior. For a moment, something flickered in his eyes, something that made the warrior hesitate, but then stepped aside. The warrior grabbed the girl and pulled her away. Clenched his fists until his nails drew blood. Not yet. If he started, he could not stop. And if he could not stop, everyone would learn who he really was. Minu reached the school and found with her teacher and 20 other students. Warriors had already surrounded the building. There was no way out. He watched helplessly as they marched the children toward the ships. "Dad!" screamed when she saw him. Minu tried to run to her. A plasma bolt struck the ground in front of him. He fell back, coughing in the smoke. "Stay back, human," a warrior warned, "or we kill you and take her anyway." They loaded 50 colonists into the ships, young and old, men and women. Anyone who looked strong enough to work or fight was among them. He did not resist. He walked onto the ship with his head down and his hands empty. Was pushed into the same holding area as. She was crying, terrified, looking for any familiar face. She saw sitting against the wall, staring at nothing. "Do you think they'll let us go?" she asked him. Looked at her. She was 16, maybe 17, too young for this. They were all too young for this, even the adults. None of them knew what slavery meant, what the fighting pits were like, what happened to humans in territory. "No," he said quietly, "they won't." Outside the ships, Minu stood in the plaza as the engines powered up. Other colonists who had not been taken stood with him. They were safe, but they had lost family, lost friends, lost children. The ships began to lift off. Minyu could not stop himself. He ran to the communication tower. He opened all frequencies, every channel. He did not know if it would help, did not know if anyone would hear, but he had to try. He screamed one name into the transmitter, a name he had heard whispered during the war years, a name that supposedly struck fear into the enemies of humanity, a name that might be legend, might be myth, might be real. Kangdohyun, Minyu's voice echoed across every frequency. They took my daughter, Kangdohyun. On the bridge of the lead ship, Commander heard the transmission. He had been reviewing the cargo manifest, calculating profits. The name made him freeze. The Reaper had been a young warrior during the contact wars. He had seen the reports from the prison moon liberation. 347 soldiers dead in 6 days. One human had done that. One human who moved like death itself. But that was impossible. The Reaper had died 3 years ago. Everyone knew that. The war had ended. The soldiers had gone home or died. Was a ghost story now, nothing more. Ignore it, ordered his crew. Just a desperate human grasping at legends. In the holding cell, heard the transmission through the ship's internal systems. He heard Minyu's voice calling that name. His real name. The name he had buried with his old life. Saw something change in his face. The blank expression disappeared. Something hard and cold replaced it. Did you know him? She asked. That name the man was calling. Was quiet for a long moment. The ship jumped to hyperspace. The stars outside the small window stretched into lines. They were leaving 7 behind, leaving the life had built behind. I knew him, finally said, once. He did not tell her the truth. Not yet. But inside his chest, something that had been sleeping for 3 years began to wake up. Old programs activated in hidden cybernetic implants. Old instincts surfaced in his mind. Old skills remembered in his hands. The Reaper had been dormant. Now the Reaper was stirring. And they had no idea what they had brought onto their ship. The slave ship moved through deep space for 3 days. The holding cells were crowded and cold. 50 humans from 7 shared the space with other prisoners from different worlds. There were blue-skinned aliens from the northern sectors, 4-armed creatures from mining asteroids, all of them captured, all of them heading towards slavery or death. The guards rotated shifts every 6 hours. They walked past the cells with their rifles ready. They did not speak to the prisoners unless it was to threaten them. They fed them once a day with bland nutrition paste. They treated them like cargo, not people. Sat in the corner trying not to cry. She had cried for the first day. Now she had no tears left. She watched the other prisoners. Some prayed to their gods. Some stared at nothing. Some whispered plans to escape that would never work. Then there was. He sat against the wall with his eyes closed. He looked calm, too calm. While everyone else panicked or despaired, he seemed almost peaceful, like he was waiting for something. On the second day, moved closer to him. How can you be so calm? She asked. Opened his eyes. Panicking won't help. But we're slaves now. We'll never go home, my father. Her voice broke. Your father did something smart, said. He called for help. Help from a dead man. That name he screamed. Everyone says he's been dead for years. Looked at her for a long moment. Maybe, maybe not. In the guard quarters, 4 warriors sat around a table. They had just finished their shift. One of them, a young soldier named, could not stop thinking about the name from the transmission. Do you think it was real? Asked, the human shouting about the Reaper. The older warrior laughed. The Reaper is dead, boy. Died in some forgotten battle 3 years ago. But what if he didn't? Then we would know, did not hide, he killed in the open. He made sure everyone saw what he did. Leaned back. I was in the 3rd wave at the prison moon. I saw the aftermath. The other warriors grew quiet. Everyone had heard stories about the prison moon. Most thought they were exaggerated. War stories always grew bigger with time. Tell us, said. His expression darkened. The Reaper came alone, one human. We had 347 warriors on that moon guarding 5,000 prisoners. We had walls, guns, ships. We thought we were safe. What happened? Day 1, 20 guards disappeared from the South Tower. We found their armor. No bodies, just scorch marks where they had been standing. Day 2, the armory exploded. 50 more warriors died. Day 3, the power went out. In the darkness, he moved through our ranks like we were nothing. Poured himself a drink with shaking hands. By day 6, only 37 of us were left. We barricaded ourselves in the command center. Then the doors exploded inward. We saw him for the first time, just a human in black armor, nothing special, but his eyes. What about them? They were empty, like looking at death itself. He did not hesitate, did not speak, he just killed. We shot him. Plasma bolts hit him directly. He did not fall. His armor had shields we had never seen before. His body moved faster than possible. In 5 minutes, 37 warriors became 0. The room was silent. That is why we call him the Reaper, finished, because he harvested lives like wheat. If he was so dangerous, how did he die? Asked. No one knows. The war ended. He vanished. Most think he died on some classified mission. Others say he went mad and the humans killed him themselves. A few believe he is still alive, hiding somewhere. Why would someone like that hide? Shrugged, maybe killing 3,000 enemies broke something in him. Maybe he got tired. Humans are strange. They can be weak and strong at the same time. On the bridge, Commander reviewed military files. He had access to high-level intelligence from the war years. Most files about were classified. The few that were not gave only basic information. Human Special Forces, Operations Officer, status, missing, presumed dead. Below that were numbers. Enemy casualties attributed to him personally, 3,247 confirmed. Estimated total including indirect actions, 8,000 to 12,000. Felt cold despite the heated bridge. One human had killed thousands. How was that possible? He pulled up combat footage from the few battles where it had been recorded. The videos were short, grainy, heavily edited, but they showed enough. A figure in black armor moving through enemy lines, every movement precise, every shot fatal. He did not waste ammunition, did not take cover. He advanced steadily while enemies died around him. In one video, 10 warriors surrounded him. They fired from all directions. The Reaper spun, his rifle tracking faster than thought. 10 shots, 10 dead warriors, 3 seconds total. Paused the video. He studied the figure, tried to see the face behind the helmet, failed. He is dead, muttered to himself. He must be dead. But doubt crept into his mind. What if the transmission was not a bluff? What if was alive? What if he was connected to this colony somehow? Shook his head. Impossible. Even if the Reaper lived, why would he care about some random mining colony? He had been a soldier. Soldiers did not become miners. In the holding cell, another prisoner approached. He was an old alien with gray skin and 4 eyes. He had been a slave for 10 years and survived by being useful to his masters. You are different from the others, the old alien said too. How so? You do not fear. Fear smells different for each species, but I know it well. You have no fear smell. Said nothing. I have seen soldiers before. Warriors, you have that look, that stillness. You are waiting. Waiting for what? For the right moment. The alien studied carefully. What were you before you were a miner? Met his eyes, someone else. The alien nodded slowly. I hope that someone returns. We will need him. On the 3rd day, finally asked the question directly. Who is really? Was quiet for a long time. The other prisoners slept or talked quietly among themselves. The guards walked past on their rounds. He was a soldier, finally said. During the contact wars, when humans first met the other species in the galaxy, there was conflict. Many species saw humans as weak, as prey. They attacked human colonies, took humans as slaves, killed them for sport. So humans fought back. Yes, we created special units, soldiers who could do things normal soldiers could not. They gave them advanced training, cybernetic enhancements, weapons that broke treaties. They sent these soldiers to do the impossible. And was one of them. He was the best one or the worst one, depending on how you see it. His voice was distant. He saved thousands of human lives. He freed entire worlds, but the cost. What cost? Every person he killed took a piece of him. Every battle made him less human and more weapon. By the end of the war, he could not tell the difference between right and wrong anymore. He just followed orders and killed whoever they pointed him at. Felt a chill? That's horrible. Yes, so when the war ended, he disappeared, tried to find whatever humanity he had left. Did he? Looked at her, his expression was sad. I don't know, I hope so. What did not say was that he was speaking about himself, that every word was his own story, that the piece of humanity he had found was now threatened by these slavers. He also did not say that the Reaper inside him was waking up, that old programs in his cybernetic implants were running system checks, that his body was preparing for war whether he wanted it to or not. The ship would reach space in 9 days. Was not sure would stay buried that long. The ship crossed into territory on the 5th day. The prisoners felt the change in the engine vibrations as they dropped out of hyperspace near a checkpoint station. Military ships scanned them, cleared them, let them pass deeper into enemy space. 12 more days until they reached the home world where the slaves would be sold. Had been counting everything: guard rotations, weapon placements, shift changes, camera blind spots, emergency exits. He did it automatically. Old training that never really went away. He memorized the layout of the ship from the small glimpses he got through cell doors and transport corridors. The ship had a crew of 127, 74 combat soldiers, 23 crew members, 30 slaves already on board from previous raids, 50 new captures from 7. Numbers, always numbers. That was how he used to think. Reduce everything to math, to probability, to targets. Push the thoughts away. He was not anymore. But the thoughts kept coming back. On the 6th day, a guard noticed. She was young and human. Some officers like to have human servants. This guard, named, decided to claim her before they reached the home world. Opened the cell during the night shift. Most prisoners were sleeping. He grabbed and pulled her out. Come, human girl, you serve me now. Tried to pull away. No, let go. Slapped her, she fell against the wall. He reached for her again. Was on his feet. He moved faster than any normal human. His hand caught his wrist. The bones snapped like dry wood. Screamed, he reached for his weapon with his other hand. Twisted. His palm struck his throat. That made a choking sound. His other hand grabbed his head and twisted hard. The neck broke with a wet crack. His body hit the floor. The whole thing took 3 seconds. The other prisoners stared in shock, scrambled backward, eyes wide with terror, not terror of anymore, terror of. Alarms screamed through the ship. 4 more guards rushed into the corridor. They saw his body. They saw standing over it. Down on the ground, they shouted, weapons raised. Looked at them. Part of him calculated angles, distances, kill sequences. He could take all 4 before they fired, then move to the next section, secure weapons, free the other prisoners, start the real fight. But not yet. If he moved now, they would kill the other prisoners as a security measure. He needed time, needed preparation. Raised his hands and dropped to his knees. The guards beat him, rifle butts to his ribs, kicks to his stomach. They were angry and scared. One of their own was dead, killed by a prisoner who should have been helpless. They dragged to the solitary cells deep in the ship's lower levels, threw him inside, locked the heavy door, left him in darkness. Commander came to see the prisoner who had killed. He stood outside the cell door and spoke through the intercom. "You are strong for a human, was a trained warrior. How did you kill him so easily?" Sat against the wall, his face was bloody. His ribs were probably cracked. He said nothing. "You will die slowly for this," promised. "I will sell you to the fighting pits. You will entertain us before you die." Still said nothing. Left frustrated. Something bothered him about this prisoner, the way he moved, the way he killed without hesitation. It reminded of something, of someone. In the main holding cell, sat in the corner, shaking. The other prisoners avoided her. They blamed her for what happened. If she had just gone with the guard, would not have killed him. Now that would be harder on all of them. Only the old four-eyed alien sat beside her. "Do not blame yourself," he said gently. "That man would have hurt you. The quiet one knew this. He made a choice. But he killed someone, so easily, like it was nothing. Because for him it was nothing. I told you he was different." The alien looked toward the door where they had taken. "I think I know who he is now." "Who?" "A ghost, a legend, someone who should be dead but is not." The alien's four eyes gleamed. "If I am right, they have made a terrible mistake." In the dark solitary cell, his eyes opened. They glowed with a faint blue light. His cybernetic enhancements were activating. Systems that had been dormant for 3 years came back online. His HUD flickered to life in his vision. Data streams appeared. Structural analysis of the ship, guard patrol patterns, weapon specifications. His enhanced processors began calculating hundreds of scenarios per second. His body responded too. Suppressors in his bloodstream released combat stimulants. His muscles flooded with oxygen and adrenaline. His reaction time increased. His pain receptors dulled. He had tried so hard to leave this behind. The therapist said every kill carved away pieces of his humanity. That if he kept killing, eventually there would be nothing human left. Just a weapon wearing a human face. But what choice did he have now? Let and the others die in slavery. Let the win. Sometimes there were no good choices, only necessary ones. Closed his eyes and let surface. The soldier he had been, the weapon he had tried to bury. The Reaper had awakened. He began by examining his prison. The solitary cell was designed to hold dangerous prisoners. Reinforced walls, electronic locks, constant monitoring. For normal prisoners, it was impossible to escape. Was not a normal prisoner. He pressed his hand against the wall. His cybernetic implants extended microscopic filaments through his palm. They interfaced with the ship's electrical system. He hacked into the security network. First, he looped the camera feed. The guards would see him sitting still even when he moved. Next, he mapped the entire ship systems. Life support, power distribution, weapon controls, navigation. He everything into his implant's memory. Then he began planning, not an escape, an eradication. 127 on this ship. He would kill them all, systematically, efficiently, starting with the isolated ones and working toward the groups. The old hesitated. He had sworn never to kill again. The therapist said he could change, could heal, could be human again. But knew the truth. Some people could not be saved. Some weapons could not be broken. Sometimes the only way to protect the innocent was to be the monster that hunted other monsters. He would kill then he would return the freed prisoners to 7. Then he would disappear again. Try once more to bury the Reaper. Or maybe not. Maybe this was who he really was. Maybe had been the lie and was the truth. Using the implants in his wrists, began manufacturing small tools. The cybernetics could fabricate simple items from trace metals in his own body. Wire cutters, small blades. It hurt, it always hurt. His body was not meant to be a factory, But pain was just information. He could ignore it. By the end of the first day in solitary, he had what he needed. He waited for the night cycle, when the ship's lights dimmed and most of the crew slept, when only skeleton shifts watched the corridors. Stood and approached the door. His fingers worked the improvised into the electronic panel. The lock clicked open. He stepped into the corridor. His HUD showed him the nearest guard position. One warrior 30 meters away, back turned. Moved, silent, fast. His enhanced muscles carried him forward without sound. He had been trained to move like a shadow, to kill like death itself. The guard never knew he was there. One hand covered the mouth. The other struck the base of the skull. The dropped, unconscious, dragged him into an empty storage room, took his weapon, his armor, his access codes. 126. He moved through the ship like a ghost. His HUD guided him. His training carried him. His purpose drove him. Another guard patrolling alone. Eliminated. 125. A crew member working late in engineering. Eliminated. 124. Two warriors talking in a break room. Eliminated. 122. The bodies vanished into recyclers and waste systems. They would not find them until morning. By then, it would be too late. Counted down, each number was a life ended. Each kill was efficient and quick. He did not make them suffer. Despite everything, he was not cruel, just thorough. As he worked through the ship, something inside him grew quiet. The doubt faded. The guilt lessened. This was what he was built for, what he was trained for. Fighting it had been the mistake. By the time the morning shift began, 37 were dead, and the Reaper was just getting started. Commander woke to chaos. Alarms screamed through the ship. His second officer burst into his quarters, panic clear on his scaled face. "Sir, we have a situation. 37 crew members have not reported for their shifts. We cannot find them anywhere." Grabbed his uniform. "What do you mean you cannot find them?" "They are just gone, sir. Security feeds show them going to their stations, then nothing, like they vanished." "That is impossible. Search the entire ship, now." But deep down already knew. The human, the one who killed, somehow he was loose. The search parties found nothing. No bodies, no blood, just empty corridors and silence. The crew grew nervous. Soldiers who had raided dozens of worlds now jumped at shadows. By midday, 17 more had disappeared. Now the crew knew something was hunting them. They moved in groups, never alone, always armed. It did not matter. Had spent 3 years trying to forget how to kill. It took him 3 hours to remember perfectly. He moved through the ship's maintenance tunnels and air ducts, places too small for the large warriors. His HUD showed him their positions. His enhanced hearing picked up their conversations. A group of 5 soldiers moved down corridor 12, weapons ready. They thought they were safe in numbers. Waited above them in an air vent. When they passed beneath, he dropped down. His feet hit the first warrior's shoulders. The neck snapped. Before the body fell, was moving. The plasma rifle he had taken spat blue bolts. 2 more warriors down. The remaining 2 turned to fire, was already rolling. His shots found their throats. The armor there was weakest. 5 seconds, 5 dead. Dragged the bodies into a side room. 83 left. He reached the ship's armory next. 2 guards stood watch outside. Approached from behind, moving without sound. Both died before they could raise weapons. He accessed the armory with their codes. Inside were weapons of every type. Plasma rifles, shock grenades, heavy armor. He took what he needed. But more importantly, he triggered the armory's emergency beacon. It would draw more guards to this location. 10 minutes later, 12 warriors arrived to check the alarm. They entered the armory carefully, weapons raised. Had rigged the entrance with grenades. The explosion killed 6 instantly. The others were wounded and disoriented. Finished them quickly. 71 left. On the bridge, Commander watched his crew count decrease. He finally understood. The quiet human from the mining colony was not just any prisoner. Could not be. "Send a transmission to High Command," ordered. "Tell them we may have on board." His communications officer stared. "The Reaper, that is impossible, he is dead." "Send the transmission." Pulled up the combat footage from the ship's internal cameras. Most had been looped or disabled, but a few caught glimpses. A figure moving too fast, killing too efficiently. The style was unmistakable to anyone who had studied the Reaper's methods. "Lock down all sections," commanded. "Seal the bridge. We hold here until reinforcements arrive." But was already 3 steps ahead. He made his way to the prisoner holding cells. The guards there had sealed themselves inside, using the prisoners as shields. Did not try to force entry. Instead, he accessed the cell controls remotely through his implants. All cells opened at once. Chaos erupted. 100 prisoners rushed out. The guards tried to control them but were overwhelmed, entered during the confusion. He killed the guards quickly, then faced the prisoners. They stared at him, this blood-covered human who moved like death. The old four-eyed alien stepped forward. "I knew you would come." "Take weapons from the guards," said. His voice was cold and empty. "Defend yourselves, stay together. I will clear the way to the escape pods." "Who are you?" someone asked. Before could answer, pushed through the crowd. She saw his face, saw the blue glow in his eyes from his active cybernetics, saw the blood on his armor. As she whispered, "Is gone," said. "Get these people to safety. That is all that matters now." He turned and left. The prisoners scrambled to arm themselves with the dead guards' weapons. Moved toward the bridge. 63 remained. 40 of them had barricaded themselves around the command center with. They thought they were safe behind reinforced doors and shields. They did not understand what they faced. Cut the power to 3 decks. In the darkness, he moved through the barricades like smoke. His thermal vision showed him targets clearly. His silenced weapon dropped them one by one. By the time emergency lights came on, 20 more were dead. The remaining warriors panicked. They fired wildly into shadows, hit their own people, used their fear against them. Every sound made them jump. Every shadow became a threat. He herded them toward the bridge, killing stragglers, cutting off escape routes, forcing them into an ever smaller space. Commander watched his crew die on the security monitors. He had been a warrior for 30 years, led successful raids on 50 worlds, but he had never faced anything like this. "Seal the bridge," he ordered. "Multiple layers he cannot get through." But the door controls sparked, died. The security systems shut down. Someone was hacking them from the inside. The bridge doors exploded inward. Walked through the smoke. His armor was scorched. His face was splattered with blood, but his eyes were calm, empty, like staring into the void. 20 warriors filled the bridge. Their elite guard, the best soldiers the Empire had. They lasted 40 seconds. Moved through them like water through cracks. Every shot found a target. Every movement flowed into the next. It was not fighting. It was art. Terrible, beautiful art painted in death. When the last warrior fell, only remained. He dropped his weapon, raised his hands. "Mercy," he gasped in human language. "I surrender." Stopped in front of him, studied him with those empty eyes. "Mercy," repeated. His voice was quiet, almost sad. "Did you show mercy to the people you enslaved, to the families you destroyed, to the children you took?" "I was following orders. It is war." "The war ended 3 years ago, grabbed by the throat. This is justice." But he did not kill, not yet. Dragged the commander to the communications station. He activated every frequency, broadcast on all military channels. "This is," he said into the microphone. His voice was calm, cold, certain. "You know me as the Reaper. You thought I was dead. You were wrong." He held in front of the camera. The commander struggled uselessly against enhanced strength. Your empire took innocent people under my protection, turned them into slaves. This is what happens when you touch what is mine. His hand tightened. Struggles became weaker. Spread the word. Any ship that takes humans, any slaver that touches my people, any warrior that thinks we are prey, you will find me, and I will kill every single one of you. Stopped moving, released the body. It fell to the floor. The Reaper has returned. He ended the transmission. For a moment stood alone on the bridge, surrounded by bodies, covered in blood. He had killed 127 in 12 hours. He felt nothing, no regret, no satisfaction, just emptiness. The door opened, stood there with the other freed prisoners. They stared at the carnage, at him. "We need to get home," said. His voice was flat, professional. "This ship is now ours. Some of you have navigation skills, yes. Good, we set course for 7. "What about you?" the old alien asked. "I will keep us safe until we arrive." "That is not what I meant. What about you? Who are you now?" Looked down at his hands, at the blood covering them, at the implants glowing beneath his skin. "I do not know," he admitted, "but we can figure that out after everyone is safe." The freed prisoners began working, taking control of the ship, setting the course, treating the wounded. Stood at the bridge viewport and watched the stars. Somewhere out there his message was spreading. The Empire would hear it, other slavers would hear it, the galaxy would know. The Reaper had returned, and he was just getting started. The captured ship traveled through space for 3 days. The freed prisoners worked together to keep it running. Some had been engineers before slavery, others learned quickly. They followed instructions without question. He had saved them, killed for them. They trusted him completely, even if they feared him too. Watched from a distance. He spent most of his time on the bridge monitoring systems and planning routes. He barely slept, barely ate, just worked with mechanical efficiency. She finally approached him on the second day. "Can we talk?" Glanced at her. The blue glow in his eyes had faded. He looked more human now, but something was different, something hard and cold that had not been there before. "What do you need?" he asked. "I wanted to say thank you for saving us, for—" She could not finish. The images of what he had done were still fresh in her mind. "You do not need to thank me. I also wanted to ask if you are okay." Almost smiled. "Almost. I killed 127 people in 12 hours. Do you think I am okay?" "I do not know. That is why I am asking." He was quiet for a long moment. "I spent 3 years trying to be someone else, trying to forget what I was, what I did. But the moment I needed those skills, they came back like I never stopped, like all that time was a dream and this is who I really am." "Maybe you are both," offered, "the miner and the soldier, and—" "Maybe, or maybe was always a lie I told myself." Before could respond, the ship's alarms blared. The old alien rushed to the bridge. "Commander, we have a problem, big problem." Pulled up the sensor displays. 50 ships appeared on the screen, warships, all heading toward them. "They got my message," said calmly. "They are coming to stop us." 50 ships, someone shouted. "We cannot fight 50 ships." "No," agreed, "but we do not need to fight them. We need to survive them." He studied the tactical display. The fleet was moving to intercept. They would reach his position in 4 hours. The captured ship had weapons, but 1 ship against 50 was suicide. "There is a supply depot here," pointed to the navigation map. "They use it to refuel ships crossing this sector. If we change course now, we can reach it before the fleet catches us." "What good is a supply depot?" asked. "It has fuel, lots of fuel, explosive fuel." The expression was cold, calculating. "We broadcast a distress signal. Say the prisoners have taken over and are holding hostages. The fleet will converge on the depot thinking they can trap us there." Understanding dawned on the old alien's face. And then you blow up the depot with them nearby. Yes, but we will be at the depot too. How do we escape? The supply ships. They keep small transport vessels docked for emergencies. We evacuate to those while broadcasting the distress signal. Set the main ship on a collision course with the depot core. The explosion will destroy everything in a 5-kilometer radius. It was a desperate plan, risky, but better than being hunted down in open space. Do it, the old alien agreed. The other freed prisoners nodded. They trusted to keep them alive. The ship changed course. 3 hours later, they reached the depot. It was a massive station orbiting a dead moon. Dozens of fuel tankers were docked. Automated systems moved cargo. The team worked quickly. They found 6 small transport ships capable of carrying all the freed prisoners. They loaded supplies and prepared to launch. Set up the distress broadcast himself, made it look authentic. Panicked prisoners claiming they had taken control, still alive but held hostage, the perfect bait. The fleet received the signal. They accelerated toward the depot. In 1 hour they would arrive. Everyone to the transport ships, ordered. Leave nothing behind that could be traced. The prisoners hurried to evacuate, stayed with on the bridge of the captured ship. You are staying behind, are you not? She asked. Someone needs to fly the ship into the depot core. Make sure the timing is perfect. You can set it to autopilot. Not reliably enough. If they detect the plan too early, they will break off. I need to adjust in real time. Then you will die in the explosion. Shook his head. There is a maintenance drone bay near the engine room, small craft used for repairs. I will eject in one at the last second. Will that work? Probably. Probably is not good enough. It is what we have. Turn to face her. Get to the transport ship. That is an order. I am not one of your soldiers. No, but you are someone I am trying to save. Do not make it harder. Wanted to argue, wanted to stay, but she saw the determination in his eyes. He had already decided. Nothing she said would change his mind. Come back alive, she finally said. Whoever you are, come back. She left for the transport ships. Locked the bridge door behind her. Then he activated the captured ship's engines. He piloted it toward the depot's central fuel core, slow enough to look like he was trying to hide, fast enough to reach the core before the fleet arrived. The warships dropped out of hyperspace. 50 massive vessels surrounded the depot. They demanded surrender. Responded with confused, frightened transmissions, pretended to be a terrified prisoner, bought time. The transport ships launched quietly from the far side of the depot. They did not notice. They were focused on the captured ship. Watch the transport ships clear the blast radius. Watch them jump to hyperspace. Safe. Then he turned his ship toward the fuel core and pushed the engines to full power. They finally understood. They tried to pull back. Too late. The captured ship crashed into the depot core. The explosion lit up space like a small sun. Fuel tankers detonated in a chain reaction. The depot vaporized. 14 warships were caught in the blast. The others were damaged by the shockwave. 2 seconds before impact, ejected in the maintenance drone. The tiny craft tumbled through space, battered by explosions and debris. Its shields barely held. He lost consciousness as radiation and heat washed over him. He drifted for 2 days. His cybernetic implants kept him alive when his body should have died. They managed his oxygen, regulated his temperature, sent out a distress beacon. The transport ships, already heading back to 7, detected the signal. They changed course and found him, brought him aboard. Woke up in the transport ship's medical bay. Every part of his body hurt. His implants had saved him, but at a cost. He would need weeks to recover fully. Sat beside his bed. When she saw him wake, she started crying. You are alive. I thought you were dead. Hard to kill, said. His voice was weak. Yes, I am beginning to see that. 5 days later, the transport ships arrived at 7. The colony had been mourning its lost people. When the ships appeared in orbit, everyone rushed to the landing pads. Minyu saw step off the transport. He ran to her, held her, wept with joy. How, he kept asking, how did you escape? Pointed to who was helped off the ship by 2 other freed prisoners. He looked terrible, injured and exhausted, but alive. He saved us, said, all of us. Minyu approached. You are the one I called for. That name is spreading across the galaxy now, said. They will hunt me. Other enemies too. I should not stay here long. It will bring danger to your colony. You saved my daughter, saved 50 people. You can stay as long as you want. Shook his head. 2 weeks I need to heal, then I leave. And he did heal. The colonists gave him the best medical care they had, thanked him endlessly, called him a hero. But did not feel like a hero. He felt like what he was, a killer, someone who solved problems with violence, someone who could not escape what he had been built to be. On his last day at the colony, found him at the landing pad. He was loading supplies onto a small ship, getting ready to leave. Where will you go? She asked. Out there, he gestured to the stars. They were not the only slavers in the galaxy. There are others, traffickers, raiders, pirates. Someone needs to stop them. But that means more killing, more being the Reaper. Yes, but this time I choose it, not because someone ordered me, because it is right. Will you come back? I do not know, maybe, if there is anything left of me to come back. Hugged him, he tensed, not used to gentle contact anymore. But slowly he returned the embrace. Thank you, she whispered, for everything. Take care of your father, live a good life, that is thanks enough. Boarded his ship, the engines powered up, he lifted off into the sky. From the colony, hundreds of people watched him go, the man who had saved them, the legend who had returned from death to protect them. In the ship, set coordinates for his first destination, a slave world 3 systems away. Intelligence reports said thousands of humans were imprisoned there. He would free them, then find the next prison, and the next, until there were no more or until he died trying. The therapists had been right. Every kill did carve away pieces of his humanity, but maybe some monsters were necessary. Maybe sometimes you needed a reaper to cut down the weeds so good things could grow. Did not know if he would ever find peace, but he knew he could give peace to others, protect those who could not protect themselves, be the nightmare that hunted nightmares. His ship jumped to hyperspace. Across the galaxy, in dark corners and hidden places, slavers and criminals heard the whispers, heard the name, felt the fear. The Reaper was hunting, and he would not stop until every innocent was free, or until death finally claimed him for real. Either way had found his purpose again, not in peace, not in forgetting, but in protecting the weak from the strong. The Reaper's work was never done, but for the first time in 3 years, did not mind.